So from 1 year to beginning of the school, so 7, so preschool teacher. Our role was to support them in communicating with parents, in playing with parents, in designing workshops and other stuff. But our training that I will present you today was mainly focused on communication. And we get a pretty, I don't know how to say, we were sometimes led in this gray area of communication with parents. So what I mean by gray area, communications is always a problem in I don't know, in Serbia, in preschool institutions with parents, and also when it comes to vulnerable groups from some challenging backgrounds. So we were focusing on communication and quality of communication with parents. I want to mention other 2 colleagues of mine that worked on this, authors and trainers on the sessions, Jelena Vranješević and Nevenka Ranđelović. And we designed this training firstly by asking teachers what do they need in terms of communications with parents. So then we proceed with the question and answers. Teachers ask us a lot of questions. We give them answers and guide them through the process of meaningful communication with parents. And we based our work mainly on teamwork and active listening and listening and communication skills. So we also wanted to have some valid data to enter this topic. So we created Microsoft Forms with 13 questions and 2 focuses: challenges in everyday practice in communicating with parents, and competencies of preschool teachers for communication. Do they feel sure of themselves, and do they feel safe in that form of communication? This is not something that that is, I don't know, on first sight connected with play and playful anything, but it is a starting point, because if you want to convey any form of topic, any form of activities with parents, we need to know how to transmit that message and how to listen to their needs and their desires in parenting process.
And also, Miloš, sorry, to build the trust
Yes,
between
yes.
you and a parent.
Thank you. I will come to that. So we got 443 answers from preschool practitioners, not only preschool teachers, but pedagogues, psychologists, and other specialists that work in our preschool institutions. Those were the challenges in Serbia as far as preschool institutions are considered. Parents do not want to cooperate. They show distrust towards the teacher, towards the program. We sometimes need to tell them that there is a problem in our work, sometimes related to children, sometimes related to family. And this is something that teachers are usually afraid of and usually don't feel confident in that. Parents do not accept, or they don't want to tell us that they accept that there is a problem in a child or in a family. We are mainly talking about developmental disabilities, sometimes aggressive and violent behavior, potential behavioral problems, and problems related at home. In Serbia, we have sometimes, I don't know how to say, we call parents disinterest, which is not very true, and it is not okay, because every parent is interested in his child in one way or another. But this is something that teachers usually meet in preschool institutions. Parents do not react on some teachers' I don't know, advice or some kind of support that teacher wants to provide. They look over busy. They are not asking too many questions. They pick up the phone when they pick up the child, and they are always on phones, don't asking even about basic children needs. We have protective parents. I could say that they are overprotective, but this is what I mean by this. They uncritically trust their child. They have unrealistic demands, expectations from kindergarten and from teachers, and they mainly focus on their child and not others, especially other children which are in group with that child. Lack of time. This is very challenging, and this is what Irina talked to. We have some form of society where everybody is running for business, for money. Sometimes they have to, sometimes they are used to do that. And this is one of the problems when it comes to playful parenting. Parents usually say, we don't have time for that. You will do that in kindergarten. You will basically address that issue where play is expected. We have problems with informing parents and the parents that don't want to follow the procedures and the rules of the kindergarten. We have discrepancy between educators' perspectives and the parents' perspectives, which is normal because we are trained professionals and parents usually are not trained in play, education, and some other issues that are present in preschool. And we have this very dark topic about aggressiveness, when the parents are aggressive towards the teachers and they do stuff which is not very okay and which is very dangerous. Okay.
Milos, sorry
Yes.
to interrupt. I just wanted to check that we have like about 12 minutes for this introduction and then 15 minutes for discussion, right?
Okay.
Yeah, just I'll do the timekeeping, and I think we have another 2 minutes until we can.
Okay, I will end up this quickly.
Lovely, no worries.
When talking about playful parenting, we have these little lightnings which I like to see as a window of opportunities to speak with parents about playful parenting. When parents take or leave their child, this is especially a good time because everyone is a bit like in informal communication and usually they are relaxed. We have this online, for Serbia especially, Viber communication and workshops with parents and including parents in some work that is currently ongoing in kindergartens. And we have this issue when teachers are not sure about themselves, and this is usually related to some problem in a group, problem with the child, and injuries and protection, which is related mostly to risky play and some other forms of active play. So this is what I want to discuss with you. Is it okay? And then if we have time, I will follow up with this teamwork and communication issues that we address in training. So question for you is, what challenges in teacher and parents communications exist in your kindergartens and communities? Anyone? or how to address those topics and those challenges which are presented here. About play, about problems, about different issues, different attitudes. Sleepy group.
I wonder if it's nice if everyone opens their camera so we know who's there. Nice.
Oh, great. Sonia?
Well, you pretty much presented what we heard from most of the kindergarten teachers. I mean, I can even speak from the perspective of parents, although I'm not a parent, but I was communicating with them a lot, and they are always blaming teachers, they don't have time for them, or maybe that they're conveying messages in the wrong way, and you know, sometimes they need some kind of support that the teacher doesn't have time to provide. And that's usually or that kindergartners are not communicating certain information they were expecting. There are not enough guidelines, especially if a child is new to that kindergarten. I mean, that's why we worked on improving communication skills of the teachers, and we're working on those guidelines in order to provide that information, like a little manual, something that we can hand to parents first time when they come, so they can get, you know, comfortable, they can feel that their kids are in the safe environment. I mean, communication is skill that everybody needs to work on. I mean, I was at your training, 6 trainings, and every time I learned something new. And one of my colleagues said, it's great because I'm learning how to actually communicate with my wife. So it was, you know, it's kind of, it's life. I mean, it's something that we all have to work on. And that's why I said COVID actually kind of push the boundaries to a lot of parents, and I think they're more sensible now. And you know, it's always the pressure is on a teacher, and we need to strengthen your capacities in order for you to, so you can convey those messages and ask parents what do they need. And I think that two-way street that I was talking about needs to kind of be open, because sometimes I think teachers think they're part of the system and system protects them, but that system is a service to children. And I think that we have still, I have to be honest, a lot of work to do. It's good we are champions in the region, but we still have a lot of work to do here. And I bet that's probably, you know, something that other participants can share their experiences now, like what are their main problems, or how they're communicating to their parents. Maybe we'll get some ideas how we can improve in that sense.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay. I will now show you our way that we did in this training, and our idea was to support teachers through teamworks in their own preschool institutions, so to give them way of working and way of thinking about communication with their own colleagues, exchanging challenges and exchanging attitudes about that, and exchanging knowledge. So we have this teamwork, we have this component of active listening and communication skills, and we had a guidebook which followed everything, and which was later distributed after training to all preschool institutions. So we provided teams with our own challenges in training. We had these stories which they can work on in their small teams. So this is a example of translated version of a case that we worked on in training. So it is, we worked on training live and solve this problem with teachers, but we encourage them to set up their own problems and think about real situations in their kindergarten and resolving them slowly and resolving them with their own colleagues. So this was so as part of the component which is about communicating and listening skills, we think about constructive cooperation as a way to establish a relationship of trust and build a relationship with the families and communities. It implies equality and symmetrical relationship, which Sonia mentioned as a two-way street, but this two-way street needs to be even wider and even more, I don't know how to say, open to everybody. It is important for teachers to understand another person's position. So not everyone and not in any time is in position to think about playful parenting, to think about these issues. We need to address needs that person wants to satisfy. So in the essence, every person that we communicate, especially parents, has some needs which have to be satisfied in order to for communication to be a two-way street. We were aware even before training that not all people have the same understanding and words of concepts, even between us experts. We don't have the same understanding of concepts and same understanding of topics. And especially this is a case when you have parents and others included in the story. Teacher needs to start from themselves, which is very important because they need to have some attitude, they need to have some starting position in conversation. They should actively listen, they show they're interested, and they show their care about one that is talking to them. They should observe verbal and non-verbal expression. They shouldn't disagree, warn or teach, or judge or demand some information from parents. They should be curious. They should ask questions, but not to bring some of this kind of topics. We are essentially role models for parents, especially when playful parenting is addressed. So we should take care that parents can observe that we are responsive and we are care about what is happening around us. And last but not least, constructive communication contributes to development of relationship and improve quality of life. This was some of the key messages that we did on training and that we were telling to teachers. So that would be it. Thank you.
I just have to add one thing. That guidebook you're talking about, that you actually was a product of this training, because we couldn't really cover all the practitioners that actually applied. That was one of the most downloaded manuals in like recent times in our association, and actually was downloaded in the region because we have the analytical data, which means we hit the topic, we found the topic that is relevant to, like I said, even preschool teachers in the region, which is good. And that's why I think maybe we should think about now spreading these messages regionally and then even globally. That's why these workshops are amazing. And I think it's a good way to hear from each other and build on that. So.
Thanks. Do we have more time, Vanessa? Should we get back to main room, or?
No, yeah, we still have time. I'm pasting a list of like kind of points that we can bring back to the main room. And I think the idea is to have more, like, if we can come up with 3 different things, like what do you think the knowledge gap is, and what pending actions do you think the in terms of how we would support professionals in promoting communication about playful parenting. And I can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we do.
Thanks. Yeah, so we'd just like to know, like, what knowledge gaps there are still, do you think, and what actions do you think would you like to continue on doing, that you, like what you said, Sonia, before, it's been 5 years and you've been a champion, but what are more that you think could be done?
I think we just started. I mean, we just started conveying a message of the program. You know, it's usually, I'm looking from this like a project and program perspective, and usually it says in order for something to be really integrated in the system, it needs to have at least 3 cycles. I mean, one is just to introduce everybody to that and for them to start getting familiar. Second is to start implementing, and then the third phase is monitoring. So whatever we started now, we just scratched the surface. And I think we actually need to start thinking more about asking teachers what they need, really follow their needs, asking parents what they need, and then strengthening capacity of parents and teachers, but also opening more platforms for parents and teachers to sit together and get familiar and start talking the same language and understanding each other. That's the whole thing about this communication training we had, was actually to teach professionals how to be better in communicating. But I think we kind of need to talk to and raise capacities of parents and focus more on parents. This program was so important to us because it's the first project that happened in Serbia that put parents, the whole family, in the focus of one project. Usually we are going toward, like we are going vulnerable groups, we are going directly to children. No, this is the whole family, this is parents. And I think that's why it turned out to be such a success for us, because somebody started listening to parents and parents' needs. And then we also worked with the professionals in order to provide them with the knowledge and skills they needed in order to be able to actually address the needs of parents. I think more communication, and also strengthening capacities, and more talking to parents also. I mean, yeah, I that's kind of what I saw from this perspective. I don't know, Milos, you or others, but.
And in Serbia, as a context, we have very huge problems with the listening communication, which needs to be much better, and we need to improve it and to work on it whenever we had a chance.
That's super interesting that you say improving listening communications, and this skill is, like, especially active listening. We're so used to listening to know how to answer next. I think it's active listening takes so much effort to do, and I think it's very interesting that you focus on this communication aspect, on delivering what is already a strong program.
The teacher asked for it. This was yes, Arya?
Yeah, please finish your sentence, no problem.
Okay. This was I don't know how to say, basically an on-demand training. Teachers were focused on communication, and they stressed that for them it's basically essential to know how to communicate these messages, and that is why UNICEF practically told us we have to do this communication training because they want it, they need it. This was some support that they expected from the program and in their workshops and work with parents.
Yeah, we call that on-demand support. It's kind of like, okay, right away we find out what is, that's the problem with projects, because we write them, they last for 4 years, and we write based on the analysis that we've done. But then certain things like COVID happened, and we are like, okay, there are issues that are very important to be addressed right now, and that's how these trainings for professionals from our perspective, like actually happened and got integrated into the program. And it's nice that UNICEF recognized this need and supported us in doing it this way. We kind of went out a little bit, but actually build and convey the messages of the program. So sorry, Arya, we are talking. Yeah.
No problem. Thank you so much for your insights. So my name is Arya Krauchenberg, and I come from the European Parents Association. And we are, of course, an umbrella association that works with a little over 30 parent associations, national parents associations in Europe. And we closely cooperate also with teacher organizations, unions and associations. And yeah, communication is one of the key points. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm very impressed that you were able to integrate this training, that the teachers actually demanded it, and that you were able to integrate it. I think that's absolutely super. Very often, as Sonia so rightly pointed out, the frameworks of the projects are very strict, and you can't, when you identify the need, you cannot always adapt. So it's great if you can do that. What I wanted to ask, I mean, you had an example there. Do you then try to solve that problem with the parent of that child only, or is that because, I mean, there were other children and other parents involved as well, obviously. Do you try to do that then in a kind of group session or something as well? Do you have,
we have this
that?
We have this on training. We provided from my practice, Nana practice, and other seasoned teacher practice. Some of, I don't know, not so hard and not so easy tasks and stories. This is a story. This is a story that we gave them and helped them solve on the training. And we advise them that they basically after training, they can think about their own problems in their own kindergartens, their own issues, and practically using active listening methods and using communicating skill methods, try to devise an answer in front of basically to come some sort of prepared in communication with parents. So to know to avoid the traps, know to avoid the main issues about I don't know, values, about judging parents, about using some inappropriate language, and knowing how they can, with their posture, with their communication, how can they provoke parents to talk more about play, to talk more about I don't know, environments in their own homes, which can be more interesting for them and for child to play or to enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it's very important that also educators come together and they discuss these kind of issues when they appear, and that they try to find a common solution that everybody sort of backs up. so that the parents also understand that when there's a serious problem, because that seems to be a very serious problem, maybe ADHS or something as well, that this needs to be addressed. Yeah, and it's not okay, this child will not be in my group next year, so somebody else will deal with it, which is what we very often see, especially when children start going to school. Yeah, when teachers are totally overwhelmed, and then yeah, they try to dive through, and the problem is not solved, and gets bigger, of course, during the years.
I have a parental meeting tomorrow with my group in the kindergarten, and majority of parents are millennials, which is for me very, very interesting. I'm older for the first time, first generation that I'm older 10 or 15 years from parents which I'm talking to. I don't know, sometimes generation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very interesting. I mean, the feedback that we get from teachers very often is that, especially when we talk about digitalization, that this is a generation that is all the time on their phones or tablets or whatever, and the children are too, and we are starting to have serious developmental problems with children, cognitive, but also physical, because they cannot co-regulate their emotions any longer. They are used to doing all that with the screen, and if the screen is not there, then there's havoc. So do you observe that as well? Nodding.
Some basically motor skills are in decline.
Yeah.
Their abilities to connect, to solve problems are increasing. They're more open. They do things quickly. They solve problems quickly. They do everything quickly. But basic stuff like motor skills, like
Speech also.
communication, which is not related to some sort of technology, is very much problem. Because when you put them in environment where there is no help from i.e. from applications, from anything else, this is a big problem. Not so for children, but for parents, yes. But it is interesting. I don't know. It is very much different.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much having the same problem. When we talk like this, attention span of the kids and parents are inclined. The speech, parents expect that the speech is just going to develop itself. Like you don't have to work with your kids. And then, that's why. Yeah, it's just, they just think it just comes naturally. Well, no.
You have to
and it's not the same. They don't learn in the same way when they only have a screen than if they have physical human interaction, right?
Exactly. And that's why we have to change this paradigm in parents' minds. So that's why I think it's very important to focus on parents, because then you don't have just a teacher that is conveying one message during 6 hours that the kid is in the kindergarten, but the kid is getting the same messages from a parent who is, so it's very important to create this, that we are talking the same language, like I said, and that is very important. I mean, I think we all have pretty much
we advocate a lot for this coherence, because as you said, they only spend 6 hours in kindergarten, which is only a very small part of the day. And if the program at home is totally different, then these 6 hours cannot really make the difference. Especially
but the expectation of a parent is there. The pressure is on the system, the pressure is on Milos and his colleagues, and that's where they think the miracle is supposed to happen, not seeing how much their role is crucial.
And especially their role as a role model.
Exactly. That's
I don't know, I was afraid with some questionnaire that I provided for parents before this meeting, and I was afraid about the fact that they voted about 60% of them voted for the option system should decide what is best. System should provide this. System should provide that. You as a teacher knows the best. And this is very frightening for me. You don't know me. You don't know the system. I know that you don't know the system because I asked you, did you read the program? Did you read the rules? Did you read the legislation? No, you didn't. How can you believe something that you didn't read? How can you believe in me and don't put yourself in this equation? You are not some foreign body which was accidentally there. You are his mom or his dad, or you are the alpha figure in this story. And you leave for me to decide, to devise, to think. I don't know, this was very frightening for me.
Yeah, I can understand.
I'm wondering, does that mean that parents feel too much reliance on external support, then that they don't feel enough agency?
I don't think that, I think that they doubt in their competencies, and it is much easier to let experts speak, to let experts do. And this is something that in Serbia is basically epidemic. That speech therapists will do the speaking, motor skill trainer will do the motorics, preschool teacher will do I don't know, overall education. And sometimes we are asking ourselves, where are they? In which time of the day? I don't know. The children are basically in kindergarten, then they go to speech therapies, then they go to some practice or motor skill training, then they go in the playroom. I don't know. It's many hours and many and much money invested in that somebody else will solve it. I don't know. It's a bit frightening to me, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I think it also has to do that with the fact that there's a lot of pressure from society on parents today. You have to do everything. Everything has to be perfect, and people feel overwhelmed because actually they never got any training for that. Yeah.
Yes.
You study for everything, and you go to school or you go to courses and you get a certificate for everything you do. But then you have a child and nobody has ever taught you how to be a parent. Yeah. So what kind of knowledge can you rely on? Yeah. I mean, you can rely on what you have experienced yourself at home. And if that was worked well, then you're very proud to repeat that. But if it didn't work well, you're also proud to repeat that because you don't know anything else. Yeah. And that makes things very complicated. And today, with this additional pressure about digitalization and digital tools and so on, and this great fear of my child will be left behind if I don't give it a device at the age of 2, which we are trying to tell parents, well, you can do lots of things to prepare them for the digital age without any devices, and they don't need that before they get to the age of 10. It's not so easy, and I can understand that people then say, oh, let the professionals do that. They know better because they have studied pedagogy, social work, and so on. I haven't got that. Yeah, I don't really know how to do this. Yeah? But it's difficult to make them understand that this can only work in cooperation. And I'm very much in favor of doing more sort of parenting courses where you really help people to understand the basics. I mean, there are people who have no clue about child development, and that actually giving a screen to a 2-year-old, yeah, inhibits the development of certain capacities, because a child is not a finished adult. Yeah, the frontal cortex is not developed yet. Lots of things are still under development, and if you disturb that development by crushing it off every time with the screen, that doesn't work. Yeah, as you said, the motor skills go down. Yeah, well, this is something that you need to train. Yeah. how to hold a pencil, how to maneuver your clothes, whatever. Yeah. And it's not a good idea to make everything easy for the child, because they need the challenge also to develop. Yeah. If you dress them every day, they will never learn how to dress themselves. So I think that's yeah.
Everyday issue with the positive stress. They need to be stressed. Child without stress will never develop, and we are talking to them every day. So you don't have to undress them, dress them, talk instead of them.
Mm-hmm.
They need to do that on their own. But he's still small.
Yeah, but I think it's also, as we said, we map out the knowledge gaps. I think there's a lot of knowledge missing on how a child develops and what can they do at certain stages and ages. Yeah, you cannot do the same with a 4-month-old than you can do with a 1-year-old. Yeah, evident. Yes. Yeah, it's in terms of food, in terms of what the child can already do, and some things come, I wouldn't say automatically, but some things the child will start doing by itself, like trying to speak, trying to walk. Yeah. But then if you don't support that, if you, every time the child starts to walk, you think, oh, it's going to fall down, and I pick it up and take it in my arms, that child won't really learn how to walk. And that's with many other things as well. Yeah.
It's important. This matter of trust is very important, that we realize and they realize that we are on the same side, we are doing the same business, that I know some things that they are not schooled for it. This is not a problem. This is very much appreciated from them and from us, to tell us some things that we don't know, some things that they don't know, and basically the well-being of the child is only that counts in this equation.
And that's why I think communication, because we identify the problems, I think that's why communication is a key. Because if you tell a parent you are part of the problem, that's not a good approach. But if you tell them you're part of the solution, that's the approach, so we just we have to work on that. We have, that's why it's important that the professionals understand that. That's why it's important that we educate parents what are the developmental expectations and at a certain age, and that they can actually they should actually be aware of that, and they should see how much they're actually stalling their development by putting them in front of the screens. Or because I think if they would know the damage they're doing, they would definitely stop doing that, but they just don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a lot about making them understand the importance of cooperation.
Exactly.
Everybody has a role to play, and that if they don't fulfill their role, whatever the professional can or will do will not have the same effect. It just won't work in the same way. Yeah.
No.
Well, thank you very much.